Good morning, good evening, good whatever time it is you're listening to this. I hope you're having a good one. I'm going to be going over the SPY and the datasets for April 25th, 2025. And with that said, let's go ahead and jump straight into the data. There we go. And today, Thursday, the 24th, we didn't really have that much important data. Um, really nothing too important was said, and I don't think Kashkari said anything too important because I'm not seeing the markets really reacting too much in the overnight. Um, Again, tomorrow we have the Michigan inflation expectations. Now, this data can be somewhat important in the what am I trying to say? This data could be pretty important because the consumer market and the labor market right now are both kind of shaky. So with consumers really cooling down and slowing down lately, it's kind of important to see where the expectations are and where the consumer sentiment and everything is. So uh, these data sets can have some pretty decent weight on the market, so just be prepared for that. Other than that, these other data sets don't matter at all. Uh, we had Google today do really good. I believe it was a double beat. I didn't check the earnings. I just know that it is up. I believe like 4% right now in the overnight. Hold on, let me check. Up 5%. So that's gonna do pretty good for the market. Um, the S&P right now is currently up 0.42%, so it's almost at 450 or at 550. I mean, it's at 549. So that's great. That's finally pushing up to a good level. But as I said, we don't have too much data today besides that data set really, pretty much 30 minutes after open. Unless President Trump gives some speech or something tomorrow that I don't know about, then the day should be pretty set, after that first data set is released. Just a quick reminder before we get into the technical analysis. If you've been finding value in my insights, consider joining my Patreon. For just $12.99 a month, you'll get access to my trades, courses, and powerful tools to help you grow as a trader. I'd love to have you be a part of our team and community. And it's less than 43 cents a day. So if you'd like to join, click in the link in the description. Thanks. And getting into the technical analysis, going over the daily chart as always, opening up the moving averages and the Bollinger Bands. Now, I'm not going to really talk about the Bollinger Bands, so we can actually hide those. Don't need to discuss those tonight. Now, the market closed at 546.69 and the 5 mile is currently at 529.93. So it's very likely we're going to see the 5 mile opening around the 532 to 533 range, give or take. Just make sure, as always, make sure you write down where the 5 mile is because it's, again, a key level. The 10 mile is at 531.06. So the 5 mile is finally crossing the 10 mile again. That's a small bullish sign, but that is a bullish sign. The 20 mile is at 535.48. So if we do close high again, and high I mean probably 548 plus, this Friday, then we should expect the 5 mile come next Monday or Tuesday to be pulling over the 20 mile, which is a very bullish sign that's how you break the selling. We actually haven't had that happen in months now, so that would be a very bullish thing to happen. Now, and that's assuming we don't have any rejection, of course. If we have like some major rejection here, then um, the 5 mile will again start to pull away from the 20 mile. And again, we're still in bear territory. Even though the market's been really bullish over the last 2 days, we are still below the 200 mile, which is at the 570 almost exactly. So that's important to note. Now, in regards to the ADL, and that's kind of like the money inflow and outflow for the fund, it has been kind of within this chop channel, which I mentioned this a few weeks ago, but right here during the correction, we were in kind of like a period of buying and selling where it was just right within this controlled range. We're now back within that range and we haven't broken out of it yet, so just be aware of that. We did have a increase in the ADL today, but overall we are still very much within that range, just kind of chopping. Now, just quickly going over the hourly chart. In one moment, I just want to pull this up. Now, let me put my pen away so I don't accidentally poke myself. Okay, so we had this really big cup over here close. Okay, from that cup, we had this handle build out. And from the handle, we had the breakout. Okay, that's really good. We finally broke out of this big range that we've been chopping in. Um, this is both a bullish thing, but if we start rejecting right here, which we can, and I'll show you why in a moment, but we can start rejecting at this level, and then this bullish cup can turn into a very large head and shoulders. So, and I'm sorry I'm not drawing very well tonight. I'm kind of in a rush, but as you can see, this can turn into a head and shoulders and pull down for liquidity. Now, since we are in this cup, and I'm just going to place that there for a moment, and I'm going to draw the cup back again. Remember we talked about at the top of a cup, we are looking for a bearish structure. So far, we are going to get this if we continue on this route. Now, I'll discuss the bullish thesis here in a second, but very likely if we continue, if we do see selling in tomorrow's session, then it's very likely we're going to see this type of structure play out and build a handle. And from that handle, we can start to look for some sort of bullish structure suggesting that, we're going to break out of that selling. Now, assuming we don't get that, I wish the cup stayed. We'll redraw it. Now, assuming we don't get this, okay, assuming we just sell down partially. Now, let me delete this head and shoulders here for a moment, because like I mentioned, there is a cup here, and even though we had the breakout above the original cup's area, we're very likely going to see a bearish structure forming in there to build a handle on this cup. Now, if this cup doesn't pull all the way down and basically nullify the structure, then this can break out upward pretty large. The next gap we're looking at is truly the 570, and I'm not saying we're going to see that in like a few sessions, but that's where the liquidity is building, because ultimately this does turn into a very large cup. Okay, so that's kind of the bull thesis right now. Like I said, the bear thesis is that, excuse me, is that this cup and handle, we have the breakout right there. We're going to look for a handle to build, but essentially we're going to look for that to be invalidated and essentially be broken out of. And the bears are looking for an inverse cup to form here, really, to suggest that this handle is going to kind of be temporarily nullified. Now, again, this handle can form a massive bear structure here and still just pull down, you know, towards this area and build liquidity and head upward in a massive way. But that's kind of what we need to look for. We are above all short-term, I if I could talk, short-term support right now, meaning we are above the 5 mile, above the 10 mile, above the 20 mile. The only moving average that is above us is the 200 mile, and I really don't think we're going to be closing like 20 plus dollars tomorrow. That can happen, but we will see. But basically, we just need to continue looking for what structure is building in this area. And I've highlighted the thesis on both sides. Um, should be fairly straightforward. And again, if you're bullish, then when we see this pull downward, you basically just don't want it to pull downward all the way to the 531 range. You're looking for it to pull downward about halfway, around that 536, 538 range. And if we're lucky, the the upper range of the 5 mile might be in that range, but we also have the 20 mile, which since we tested the 5 mile, we went through the 20 mile. We can go back through the 20 mile again to head back to retest the 5 mile, but we can also just retest the whole 20 mile range again. And if we do test that, that could be all the way from the 537, uh, almost the 538, all the way down to like the 533. So the range is pretty big tomorrow. Look for the structure. It shouldn't be a fairly difficult day. It's either we're gonna break out or we're gonna head down and start building some bear structure. It's really that simple. When we have all the short-term support below us, you really have to look down, um, because again, that's where all the short-term support is. It's underneath us. So even though this can be bullish, we can head down and that can be bullish. Like I mentioned, like a cup and handle, you do have to head downward to build bullish liquidity. So very likely that's what we're looking for. Um, Tomorrow will be a pretty decisive day in regards to, seeing if we head back up to this 570 or if we, reject down in a big way. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great day, trade safe, and have a wonderful weekend. And I will talk to everyone on Sunday. Take care.